Thank you for watching this presentation detailing the Goessel USD 411 bond proposal. Our children, our future, our responsibility. In the fall of 2012, the USD 411 Board of Education announced a facility study across the district to assess needs. Our current bond project will be paid off in 3 years. However, concerns have arisen that the legislature may reduce state aid for bond projects. This would have a significant impact as Goessel is a 40% state aid district. This means that for each $1 million of improvements, $400,000 would come from the state funds. The board determined the possibility of losing this much state aid was too important to postpone examining facility needs. At the board retreat, a number of needs surfaced, but 6 critical areas were identified. During the all-staff in-service on October 12th, the staff identified the same 6 needs as the highest priority areas. Shortly after the district staff meeting, the district invited Dr. Shannon Washburn and Dr. Stephen Herbstreet, who are professors of agriculture education at Kansas State University, to visit our district. They gave valuable input on trends in the future of agriculture education and the integration with nutrition and science education and the benefits of collaborating among programs as we prepare students for their future careers. Community meetings were held on November 18th and 19th, offering tours of the high school facilities and gathering additional feedback from patrons on facility needs in the direction of educational programs. Following the needs assessment, architectural firms presented basic proposals and estimates of how to address the facility needs to the Board of Education. A number of critical needs were identified by the board, staff, and patrons. They include a usable storm shelter at the elementary school, agriculture, science, and family and consumer science or FACS lab and classroom space at the high school, and deteriorating brickwork and inefficient windows in the oldest parts of the high school, sometimes known as the 1930s building. The Board of Education, staff, and patrons all recognize some key areas of concern with current facilities. Student safety was first among the concerns. They felt there were significant concerns in some learning spaces about the ability to keep students safe while providing quality hands-on learning. A second area of concern is how functional or usable the learning environment is. Older systems that are broken or in disrepair limit the ability to use the classroom to provide the best learning opportunities for students. A third area of concern is building efficiency, especially in the oldest part of the high school. Low-quality windows and deteriorating brickwork result in increased energy costs and recurring maintenance expenses. A final concern is building flexibility. Some learning spaces are not flexible enough to handle changing programming needs or meet the support needs of a diverse student body. The Ag facility is a mix of spaces that are very inefficient and in various states of disrepair. The prime classroom space is small and overcrowded and does not allow for supervision of the work areas. The main shop lacks adequate ventilation and the roof structure is of questionable strength. The paint booth is in between rooms and is used as a hallway, creating a safety hazard. There are many different spaces within this area that create supervision challenges. This facility is very inefficient to heat and cool. The current science classroom presents multiple areas of concern for student safety and quality instruction. One example is the fume hood, which is to be used for chemicals that give off dangerous vapors, and it does not work. Drains in this area clog and overflow easily. Pipes break and leak frequently, flooding the room. The fixed tables in the middle limit the space for lecture and small group activities. The chemicals in this room are in locked cabinets, but ideally they should be stored in a dedicated storage room separate from the classroom. Natural gas lines that were once in service are disconnected and not usable. The Family and Consumer Science classroom, or FACS, classroom lacks any ventilation for cooking. The narrow space makes it difficult for sewing and other activities. Hot water is not readily available, and the windows in this room are very inefficient and drafty. This is a space that's used frequently by other programs for cooking and preparing foods for a variety of activities, but it is far from the kitchen or commons area where that food is served. It also is not able to be utilized as a hospitality room for various events. The oldest part of the building is in need of window replacement to increase energy efficiency and comfort. There is also a need for brickwork repair and sealing to stop water infiltration. This is causing internal damage in many areas, especially around windows. At the elementary school, the current tornado sheltering options are to either go under the stage, which is an area that is flood prone, and, according to safety management, could be a location where students are easily trapped if the roof were to collapse. A second option is the hallways outside of classrooms, but they are exposed to flying glass and debris. Neither of these is a quality, safe location for students in the event of an emergency. Following the needs identification, Lloyd Builders and PKHLS Architects both presented preliminary design ideas and cost estimates to address the identified areas of need. Based on these preliminary designs, the board chose to work with Lloyd Builders to create a design proposal to address the facility deficiencies. A steering committee was then formed involving architects, administration, certified staff, classified staff, and patrons. These stakeholders worked together with the architect in developing initial plans to address the needs. These received multiple revisions in the process before being presented to the Board of Education for approval. The work of the steering committee resulted in a proposed bond project that addresses the most critical needs identified. The largest portion of the project would cover building a new facility west of the high school gym to house Ag, Facs, and Science. The current Ag facility would be demolished as part of this project. The second largest portion of the project would be building a FEMA-type tornado shelter on the northwest side of the elementary school. This new space would also be used as an additional general classroom space, with a possibility of being used for early education programs. A third major part of the project would be replacement of the old inefficient windows in the 1930s building, as well as brickwork repair and sealing. Additional important facility upgrades that would be included with the project would be the addition of a storage room to the north side of the high school gym, which was part of the last bond project originally, but was cut due to budget concerns. Other important pieces would be remodeling of the current science lab to be used as an art room. This would allow the current art room to be remodeled and allow an expanded facility for PE and weights. The current fax room would be remodeled for general classroom use as well as special education services that are very limited in space at the current high school. One final piece would be remodeling the entrances or making adjustments there to enhance security of both the elementary and high school. This project would also include a small portion of money to update the boys' restroom at the elementary school. This rendering shows the proposed addition to the west side of the gym. This new building would house the agriculture, science, and facs classrooms and lab spaces. This could be a prime entrance for activities, with the current space for the ag shop, which will be demolished, being used as a much improved parking area. The new structure would include approximately 13,000 square feet of classroom and lab space. In addition to the natural benefits of new construction addressing the safety concerns of our current facilities, an additional benefit would be encapsulating these programs in one area. This would allow better interdisciplinary instruction and sharing of resources. This also places the fax room in a location that can be utilized for hospitality and other functions that support student activities. One minor benefit of this additional space would allow an officials changing room to be close to the gyms and not in a space where they have to go through most of the building following an event. The proposed storm shelter at the elementary school would be built to FEMA standards, but not actually FEMA rated. It would be capable of housing 195 students and staff. The actual classroom use of this facility is yet to be determined, but one possibility is for early education programs. The total cost of the proposed project is estimated to be $3,300,000. 40% of the cost of this project would be paid through state aid, keeping the project very affordable. This project would result in refinancing of our current bonds, and the local mill levy would increase 1.95 mills if passed. This would result in a tax increase of $16.81 per year for an owner of a $75,000 home. This is only $1.40 per month. The bonds would be fully paid in 18 years. Many people ask, well, how do our current taxes compare to other districts in the area? Goessel's mill rate is very comparable and lower than many districts in the area. Even with a 1.95 mil increase, taxes in the Goessel district would still be very comparable to area districts at 58.23 mils. If you have questions, please contact the school offices. Dr. Fast and Mr. Bowden, in particular, would be happy to answer your questions. Our children, our future, our responsibility. The Goessel USD 411 Bond Proposal.